evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sports with Sunshine. To the to the right is my co-host DP from the Down South Philly Show. We are powered by the Sports Lounge Media, and we want to say thank you to each and every one of you that are coming out tonight to talk a little bit about the NFL before we have some preseason action with our birds tonight. Big shout out to the Mobile Brand and the Diamond Collection for sponsoring the Sports Lounge Media and making it what it is, guys. Remember, if you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy watching me and DP break down sports of all kinds, make sure you like, subscribe to both of our pages as well as the Sports Lounge Media, and tap that bell so that you do not miss a second of the action. I appreciate you guys. DP, how you feeling, man? Last week of the
Hey man, another day in paradise, another day closer to real Eagles football.
Amen, amen. We guys, what is it now? 13 days. 13 days, the Philadelphia Eagles, the banners will drop. Dallas will come into Philadelphia, and the NFL schedule season, the 2025-26 NFL season will be kicked off. Guys, we are on our way. Tonight, though, we're going to take a trip down to Indianapolis. I'm excited. Yo, what's happening, Oscar? Appreciate you for coming in and showing love, brother. Welcome in. Welcome in. First of all, DP, what in the world is going on in Indianapolis? We're going to talk a little bit about Anthony Richardson, okay? The 2023 fourth overall pick by the Indianapolis Colts has officially been named the backup quarterback behind Daniel Jones. A lot of people are saying that Daniel Jones isn't necessarily, it's not that he's better, it's that, excuse me, my dog's having a moment right here next to me. He's going crazy on the carpet. But it's everybody's saying that, Daniel Jones is not necessarily that he's that much better. It's that the Indianapolis Colts are kind of giving up on Anthony Richardson, right? And I kind of want to get your perspective on it, because to me, AR was very raw and very young coming into the NFL, right? He had all the immeasurables. He was strong. He was fast. He could throw the football far, but he never really read defenses well in college. I'm a Gators fan as well, so I got kind of firsthand experience of that. So it's really interesting that the Colts went all in on him that soon, and this is kind of the product you get. We remembered he was injured. He only played 4 football games the year he was drafted. Following year, 11 football games. So not a lot of football has been played with Anthony Richardson. You see his stats below: 2,000 yards, more interceptions than touchdowns, and not a great passer rating. I omitted completion percentage because it can be a little bit, it depends on what the offense is asking you to do, whether it's bubble screens or not. So we go with passer rating, which is all kinds of passing. DP, is Indianapolis giving up a little early on Anthony Richardson?
I don't know if it's a little early, because coming into this season, like before any preseason football or practices were had, this was like his last chance, right? So you mentioned him being hurt coming into the league, and him kind of getting that title of being injury prone. Yet another season of that last year of him just being hurt. Famously, you remember him tapping his head coming out. Um, Things like that just kind of rub people the wrong way. And I think when it comes to, because Shane Steichen is a hell of a coach, we know that.
Agreed.
He runs a hell of a system. For me, it just seems like it makes me appreciate my quarterback even more, because they let them tell it. Anybody can run that system and do well in it, but we see a player that could be even more athletically inclined do less than Hurts ever has. But I think ultimately it's him being injury prone that kind of has stopped his career. Maybe he can have a fresh start somewhere else. But they didn't bring Daniel Jones in to win this job.
Right.
So that just goes to show you how they feel about Richardson, and maybe at the next step he'll have a better career.
Right. You look at all the other quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, just to name a few, that have kind of left where they were to go to other places and seen a little bit more success. So maybe it's a change of scenery that Anthony Richardson needs. In my personal opinion, I think it's a combination of injury and mindset. He's been put in the positions, right? I get he's been injured a lot, guys. People, he's not getting a fair shot. He had 11 games last year. He had 4 games, then he got hurt. I get that's not a lot of time, but it's not like he hasn't been given all the opportunity in this fall camp to win the job, right? He just lost the job to Daniel Jones. And if you're losing football jobs to Daniel Jones, who isn't necessarily a D1 stud great guy.
Not a good look.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think that it shines a little bit porous on you. And I think that a little bit of this pours into, is Anthony Richardson old enough and mature enough to take on the NFL level from a mindset perspective? I don't think he is. I thought that the 4th overall pick by the Colts in 2023 was a bit of a reach, and I'm a Gator fan, love Anthony Richardson. I want to see him succeed, but at 4, the Colts definitely gambled on his athletic ability and his throw power alone, and they realized that he was a little bit too raw, right? Like, you can't take a guy that in college, his senior year was underneath, I believe he was at 53%, 56% completion percentage. That's just not getting it done at the Division I. And he played in the SEC, so it's not like he was playing bad competition, but he didn't show you at any point during his college career outside of athleticism that he could read defenses at an elite level at a 4th overall pick level. You know what I mean?
That always was kind of a mystery to me, how GMs and execs can go crazy for one guy because of his measurables and then completely disregard another player because maybe he's not tall enough, or
Right.
maybe he just didn't have, whatever. Maybe you just don't like the guy at the end of the day. It's just funny to see how wrong you can be about a player, right? I mean, obviously, there's no exact science to know this player is going to be a stud or this player is going to be a bust on the next level. At the end of the day, you just don't know. It's a gamble. You can run all the analytics that you want. You can do all the home visits and interviews and all the strenuous tests that you put these young men through before they are really adults. But at the end of the day, you just don't know until you play NFL football.
Right. Yeah, you don't know that the game, like the speed of the game is far exceeds that of
Hmm.
college, and really until you're in the fire, there's really no way to know how you're going
Just
to
don't know.
respond. And Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, did not respond well enough to be the starter in Indianapolis. I do think that they will trade him. They will end up moving on from Anthony Richardson. This kind of is the paint in the pudding, especially if the Colts do like porous this year, like I think they're going to do. I think that you got to go back in the draft and you got to say, okay, we've got to look for a new quarterback. Daniel Jones isn't the answer. Anthony Richardson hasn't been the answer. Let's trade Anthony Richardson for some draft capital so that we can make some moves within the draft. But the good news for Anthony Richardson, the quarterback position in the NFL is not super solidified right now, right? You look at Minnesota. They don't know what they have in McCarthy yet. The Saints, it's a clown show down there for quarterback. I mean, even the Giants, yes, Jaxson Dart, and we're going to talk about him a little bit, Giants fans, has been sensational. Hasn't played he has not played the ones on a consistent level yet. And I do still think, and even he came out in press conference to say that Russell Wilson's the starter, and I think Giants fans will agree with that. But there's plenty of teams in the NFL that need quarterback right now. So that kind of plays into Anthony Richardson's favor. The only thing that's really not going to play into his favor, in my opinion, DP, is money price. He has driven his stock down with his play. So if I'm Anthony Richardson, I'm not going into these debate or into these meetings with my agent thinking I'm going to get paid, because you're just not. You haven't put forth the effort. You haven't put forth the tape. You're not going to get paid what you want to get paid right now. His best bet is to just hop on where he can hop on, play his tail off, and try to change the narrative surrounding him.
Yeah, man. I mean, he doesn't have any leverage. At this point, he's just
That's a good
hoping.
word. That's a good
Yeah,
word.
he's just hoping for an opportunity to show what he can do, right? He's gonna bounce around the league a couple of times because he's a first round draft pick. He is going to get a second and third chance, at the very least, to be a backup. There may be a spot next year for him in Philly, as to hold a clipboard. Never know. Um, but other than that, he's just gonna have to, go back to the drawing board. I don't know if he needs to switch his personal trainer at home to get more health. Stop eating the ice cream. I
Right. I'm
don't
about
know.
to say
I
you
don't
got to
know
get
what's
off the
going
Ben and Jerry's. You got to get off the Ben and Jerry's. It's not good for you.
Something is not working. But yeah, he'll get another shot. He just needs to, pump the brakes and find a better situation for him.
Agreed. I think Anthony Richardson does still have a future in the NFL. The question is where. And guys, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to think. Let me know in the comments, whether you're on the rewatch or whether you're in the live. Where do you think Anthony Richardson would fit best? Would he fit best in New Orleans? Could he go make noise at MetLife for the Jets or the Giants? Let me know in the comments. As always, we are always interested in what you guys think. I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out. Remember, if you're enjoying the video, you're enjoying the content, like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. And you're going to see me and DP's beautiful mugs every single Friday, breaking down either America's Game of the Week or our Philadelphia Eagles, which we will speak on tonight. But we're going to go around the rumor mill when it comes to quarterback. We're going to talk a little bit about Jaxson Dart. Now, I'm not one of those guys, and DP knows this. I hold rookies in regard. You know what I mean? They're not breaking top 5 lists for me. They're not breaking top 10 lists for me. But I can be honest in my evaluation of Jaxson Dart and say he's had a terrific preseason. Decision-making wise, being able to escape the pocket and make plays after the fact. I feel like Jaxson Dart has done a very good job. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's gotten opportunity. I mean, 27 attempts in his last outing, and before that, I believe he had 18 or 17. So Jaxson Dart has gotten to throw the football a little bit for the Giants, albeit it is against twos. I understand that. 100-plus passer rating combined right now between the 2 games. That's great for a rookie. I feel like Jaxson Dart has answered the call and then some. He is QB2 in New York right now. You know, he needs to learn all he can learn from Russell Wilson. But DP, give me your honest evaluation of what we have seen from Jaxson Dart right now. And, you know, with a grain of salt, it is the preseason.
I've liked what I've seen from him. I'm thoroughly impressed. I thought that they had gotten another Daniel Jones and
Agreed.
secretly hoped that they did because them being in the division. But I can't knock the fact that I like what I see out of him. It's super early. It is the preseason, but there are quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks, DTR, that still don't look like NFL vet. So I mean, for him to come in and look like that at any point at this level is impressive to me. And I think that they might have them one.
I agree, and I think that his work ethic speaks volumes. You know, do you think that maybe he spent a little? I know he spent a little bit of time with Gruden. Maybe that helped him in his ability to be a little bit more prepared for the NFL. But Jaxson Dart is really showing you that of all the because this was a weak quarterback class. Let's call it what it is. Cameron Ward hasn't been overall impressive in the preseason, if we're being honest. Shadur's played one singular game. So, and Dylan Gabriel was great in the second outing? Wasn't very impressive in the first one. He was good against us, unfortunately. But, you know, Jaxson Dart has really, to me, shown that he's been the best quarterback so far out of all of his peers. And again, guys, I get it. It's the preseason. I'm not jumping on the Jaxson Dart rookie offensive player of the year train quite yet because Ashton Genty's running folks over in the NFL right now. So I'm pumping the brakes on that. I think that, you know, with Jaxson Dart, it's like DP said, maybe that New York doesn't need to look for a quarterback in this next draft. If they do have another down year, they can address other areas of their team, like the secondary, like the offensive line. Those are 2 areas where the Giants could get better. And excuse me, they did add to the safety room. When I say secondary, I'm speaking to the cornerback room. But offensive line wise, I think that's the first glaring need for the Giants. But Jaxson Dart has been, I think, all that he's built out to be. And I think that he gives a lot for Giants fans to be excited about from charisma standpoint, from a play point standpoint. I think that, and, you know, he went on to the interview, like I was saying earlier, and said, like, it's Russell Wilson's job. He's earned it. I'm just here to sponge and learn. That's something you want to hear out of your young guy, right? He's here to learn. He's here to get better. And then he said, I feel like when my number is called, I'm just going to go out there and ball. I don't feel like you can ask for more from your rookie.
Man, yeah, just to echo what you said, do you realize that it's been 6 years since they've had a game without Daniel Jones in the locker room? So, I mean, it's been about 6 years, and all of the incompetence that he's had, all of the pressure and the injuries and whatever else that's been going on with Daniel Jones, the saga is and book is finally closed. And I think it's just a breath of fresh air
Right.
to just have new life in the organization to the tune of them going out and getting 3 new quarterbacks. So that just shows you with how much trouble that room was in and how quickly you can correct it with the right guys in house.
Agreed. Yeah, no, and you add a bunch of different faces. Jameis Winston is a journeyman that can add a lot of value. But I think that as we look at it right now, I think we can both agree Jaxson Dart's the future in New York right now. He's the guy they're
At
investing
least
in.
it looks that way.
Right, yeah, for now. For the sample data we have, he is the future. It looks like that's who they're going to invest in. Obviously, we'll see how the 2025 season plays out. But right now, as it stands, I'm a pretty big fan of Jaxson Dart. I mean, as much as I can be, he's a Giant. But at the end of the day, I am excited to see what he brings to the Giants in terms of athletic ability and play style. I think he's got the charisma to succeed in New York. Now it's going to be about whether or not he gets an opportunity this season or next season. But enough about those New York Giants. Me and DP don't like talking about the Giants. Come on. Now, I'm playing. But we are going to talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a game tonight. And, guys, we are going to try to clip this one before that game starts so that you guys can go enjoy their last preseason game. This is it. This is the Eagles' preseason finale versus the New York Jets, who, in my opinion, haven't really been all that impressive in terms of what they've been trying to do. Run defense hasn't been great. Obviously, we're going to see the threes and the twos tonight. A lot of who you're going to see tonight from the Philadelphia Eagles, if you're, watching, is guys that are on the fringe, guys that haven't secured a spot. If they're not dressed out tonight, they will make the 53-man roster. If they're dressed out tonight, they're still competing to make the 53-man roster. Because I believe I seen Adoree Jackson. He didn't dress tonight. So it's going to be Keely, Jacorian, and the other cat, the one that they were talking to the journeyman,
McWilliams,
him, and then there's another guy, the McMillan guy that's been like an 8-year journeyman. So those are going to be the faces that you see tonight. Jahad Campbell did not dress tonight either. He will not play. He's secured a roster spot. You probably won't see much of Jomo. You're going to see some Gabe Hall, some Ty Robinson. They're probably going to get the entirety of the game, which is good for them. It's good for their development. I love what I seen out of the Edge Room a week ago. Thought they answered a lot of questions. Really, tonight, I'm going to specifically watch corner and offensive line. And the only reason I'm not worried about offensive line, I'm interested to see who they have in that left guard spot. Right, who's going to replace Landon while he's out? I'm interested to see if Drew Kendall gets any reps, and then of course that cornerback spot. But DP, what is something you're spotlighting tonight? Obviously, it's preseason. We kind of already know who's going to make the roster. What's something you're spotlighting in this game?
Well, before I even get into that, just a crazy thought of how about the fact that Jahad Campbell dropped all the way to us, and he had all these injury concerns, and he's going to be available for week 1. How crazy is that?
As a possible starter, because Nakobe will not be back by then. So and I love Nakobe. There's a small chance that if Jahad plays well, Nakobe will never get his job back. And I hate that. Like, obviously, he can be in the rotation, but he's never going to be a starter again. And that breaks my heart for Nakobe, because I love Nakobe Dean. But if Jahad Campbell comes out and is as advertised as he has been and gets his mental discipline, there's a shot that Nakobe doesn't get that spot back. And it's the NFL. It's the best man up, kind of mentality. But DB's right. That's a pretty crazy thing to think about, that this kid fell to us all the way at 32. He had all the injury concerns. He wasn't even supposed to suit up until the first week of August. He was there on the very first day in July, and now he's going to start. Guys,
didn't miss a play. Dallas. Didn't miss a play. So, yeah, that's just been blowing my mind ever since. Like, just seeing the closer we've gotten to, game day, and, he's just been lighting it up. So that's crazy. So for me, I'm looking to see, I want to see more out of Smile Monday. He has been lighting it up, but you got to take what you can get in the preseason. So Smile Monday, I want to see what we have from cornerback depth after the obvious people. See what Ringo can do against not great talent that he's going to face tonight.
This is his last, in my opinion, DP. Tonight's his last shot to make the roster. Not even to get cute. I think he's lost cornerback 2. Cornerback 2. Yeah. Cornerback 2 right now is between Jacorian Bennett and Adoree Jackson. I feel like now Keely is just fighting to make a roster spot, because me and another Sports Lounge media member talked about this earlier today. I said, I love Keely. I want Keely to work because I love him so much and what he's done for Philadelphia, specifically on special teams. But it's naive to think that Keely Ringo is just going to accept another special teams role and not compete for the CB2 spot. If he does not make this roster, I mean, that's it for his time. And I mean, obviously it's it for his time in Philadelphia, but I don't know that he comes back and just accepts the special team role. You know what I mean? Like,
but I don't know if he has to accept it. I mean, he had the chance. He had the whole preseason to show 100%. What he can do. And, he had the full gambit of being able to start from the first practice we ever had this year to, getting done dirty every which way. AJ turning them every way but loose. Jamar making them his son. So, I mean, he's had opportunities to show that he belongs as a starting cornerback, and he just hasn't done so. So if he wants to, be on this team, I don't, and he doesn't even strike me as a person. You never know what players are going to do, but he doesn't necessarily strike me as a person that's going to be upset with, what we tell, especially when he's been given every opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, I feel like he's the kind of guy that'll be a little bit more upset at himself for not
Yeah.
answering the call rather than being upset at the team for not giving him a quote unquote chance. Because
Mhm.
DP's 100% right. Keely Ringo was the starter to start camp,
Yeah.
and he's just lost the job. And it's not that he's I mean, it's not that he's horrible. I know a lot of Eagles fans are like, oh, he's horrible, blah 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 blah. Guys, he's just sometimes you have it and sometimes you do not. You look at
Right.
Quinyon Mitchell. No one knew what Quinyon Mitchell was going to become, and now he's poised to be a top 5 corner in the league. No one knew that Cooper DeJean was going to come in and be a top 100 player in the NFL this season, but he did. So sometimes you have it, and sometimes you do not. Tonight, I'm going to put a very specific emphasis on Jacorian Bennett. I want to see how he does specifically in man coverage whenever he's, front to front with someone. There were a couple times against the Browns where he kind of was trailing and he had to come across, but he did a really good job of getting his hands around and swatting. I want to see him be a little bit better in tracking the football whenever it's in the air. We'll see what happens there. Defensive line-wise, I think we're going to see a lot of Gabe Hall type Robinson. Edge-wise, you're probably going to see Antoine Powell-Ryland a lot, along with maybe you see Unche and Ojulari very early on. I think you'll see Ojulari over Unche because I think Unche's kind of got his spot on the squad. I think we will see Ojulari in the back end. Andrew McCord, I believe, is still injured. Probably won't see him at all. You'll probably see a healthy dose of Sidney Brown. Excuse me. And I really don't know who's behind the other cat. Who?
McCullum.
McCollum, that's who it is. Yeah, you're gonna see some McCollum. There's an opportunity to see Mac Williams in the nickel. So defensively, there's some secondary guys that we're gonna get to see tonight if they can make a spot, if they can earn a spot. Because you guys got to remember, next Tuesday, the Philadelphia Eagles have to finalize the 53-man roster. Next Tuesday, we begin preparation for Dallas. So that's the day when we will have the 53-man. You'll know who's on this squad and who isn't, besides the obvious guys. Offensively, I do think that we're going to see Montrell Johnson tonight rather than Will Shipley. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Will Shipley's kind of got that running back 2 spot.
Yeah, that's actually surprising to me. I thought that AJ Dillon would be more of a factor, and he still may be. But it just seems like the burst we've seen from Will Shipley and how everybody's saying how smart he is in the locker room. So I mean, he's won the locker room. He's one of those guys that kind of just had it the whole time he's been here. And, he had a pretty good career at Clemson anyway. So,
a great utility back that I think
yeah.
he benefits from being in the same room as Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. And I think he may have more upside than what we got out of Gainwell last year.
Right. I think so, man. I think that, and even though Dillon isn't the quote unquote RB2, I do think we'll see a healthy dose of him in the regular season. I think we're going to see a 3-headed monster in all of our backs. I thought coming into camp, I was one of those guys that's like, well, Saquon's numbers are going to have to come down because 345 carries a year is not sustainable. But he's gotten the most touches in this camp than he ever has. So it doesn't really look like the Philadelphia Eagles are on any kind of track to slow him down. It looks like he's going to get the same kind of workload that he got a year ago. And I'm fine with that as long as we're throwing the football better so that we're not putting that all on him. I want to see the offense evolve a bit through the air. And that, brings me to the receiving room. Darius Cooper is dressing tonight. He's going to play. I think he's one of those guys that has a roster spot, but we still want to see what more out of him. I think tonight the Eagles are going to make a decision between him and Aniyah Smith. I think, obviously we lost Johnny Wilson to ankle and knee injury. Our prayers are out with him. Hopefully, I want him to make a full recovery, man. He made so many strides he was going to be a part of the starting rotation of receivers for the Eagles this year. And you hate to see that kind of stuff happen, man. John Mechie, he dressed out tonight. He's going to get a healthy dose of receptions. I'm very interested to see what he looks like in the offense. Now, obviously, he's not going to be catching balls from Jalen or Tanner. He's going to be catching them from DTR and Kyle. But I'm excited to see what Mechie can be in this offense. I think that he can be a real dangerous guy in that 4-3 spot, depending on whether or not he outplays Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, and I pretty much think that Jahan Dotson's spot is also secure.
I agree.
At the 3, I think Mechie still has to catch up in regards to the chemistry, playbook, yada yada yada. They are similar in build. It's just Jahan has a year on him, and a whole offseason on him essentially. So I
Right.
think down the stretch we'll see Mechie perhaps come along. But you gotta remember, we don't really utilize the wide receiver 3 position like that. So,
Right.
to see a 4 be a factor is kind of a stretch. But, if we do have some of these injuries catch up with us, like we've seen AJ Brown be hurt pretty much the whole preseason. I think Smitty is dealing with a little hamstring as well. So I
Correct.
mean, potentially, if you can at least get to the 4th spot as a wide receiver, you're gonna see maybe a stretch of games where you bump up to a 2, you bump up to a 3. So he's gonna get his chance, and he just needs to be ready whenever he gets it.
Agreed. Agreed. You got to step in and you got to be able to go, especially in an offense that's predicated on the run. Offensive line wise, I think that we're going to see a lot of Drew Kendall, a lot of Miles Hinton, a lot of Cam Williams, these young guys that need to come in and prove that, they're not wasting a roster spot being on the roster. I'm excited to see what they can bring. And then outside of that, man, after this, we lock in, we get the 53 set, and then guys, we are 13 days away from the Philadelphia Eagles being in Philadelphia with the banners dropping, Dallas coming in, and DP, I couldn't be more excited. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have come out tonight. Remember, if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy watching me and DP talk NFL football on your Fridays, all you have to do is like, share, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on. Whether it's on Sports with Sunshine, whether it's on the Down South Philly Show or the Sports Lounge Media, make sure your bells are on so you never miss a second of the action. We're going live every single Friday at 7 p.m. to cover America's Game of the Week as well as the Philadelphia Eagles. We're also going to be dropping our top 5 power rankings of the NFL. That will start next week. We're going to have our ready to go preset top 5, and then it'll change every single week. I'm interested how you guys feel about the season coming up. Drop your team in the chat. If you're new here, I want to know who you cheer for, guys. This is an NFL coverage, not just the Eagles. So we welcome any and all fans. But DP, it's fun, man. I'm excited to watch it tonight. How are you feeling?
Yeah, man. So we actually got some announcements. So you mentioned, the start of the season on September the 4th. SLM will be unveiling a brand new show called Primetime Sports, where we basically are going to live stream all of the big primetime games, right? So whether that's a Sunday night, a Monday night, a Thursday night, sometimes on Fridays, whatever it is, you'll see us there. And the other thing, I had something. Oh yeah, we're streaming the game tonight. So just pop on over to the Down South Philly Show. You want to kick it, watch the game. We'll have live commentary. You might even see Sunshine on there. You never know.
I might have to check that out. I ain't gonna hold you. It sounds like something that would be right up my alley. But guys, as for tonight, that's gonna do it for Sports with Sunshine. I will see you guys on Monday, where we're gonna be covering a little bit about the NFL. We're gonna look. I mean, the week before the season starts, we're gonna be doing a lot of pre-rankings, all that good stuff. Guys, the NFL season, it's upon us. We're here. We made it. We're through the preseason. After this, it's ready to rock and roll. Appreciate you guys for your support. Remember, always a big shout out to the Mobile Brand and the Diamond Collection for sponsoring the Sports Lounge Media, and thank you to the Sports Lounge Media for powering both Sports with Sunshine and the Down South Philly Show. Remember, guys, all you got to do is turn the bell on, like, and subscribe. Until then, I will see you guys on Monday. It's always Go Birds.
Go Birds.